Right. Hi, right before we actually get onto the shop, I just want to go through quickly what what I've done regarding the side walls and the front of the building. Right, front of the building to begin with is here. So we've glued the front on to the 1mm card, okay, and turned the windows over around the back and glued them. Right. The next job to do on that before you put the windows in, to put the sills on, as I showed you before. The sills will go on. Let me just hold one there just to show you. God, they're fiddly, I tell you. Right, okay, so they'll go on there where I've got my finger, and they'll be turned over and glued on the back as well. Don't drop them on the floor like I've just done. Right, so that's the next job on that one. Showed you that before. That's obviously the box, the back, and I've done put the three pieces together here. That's the gutter, which is the black bit there, okay, and the house side. I've put the cover layer on that. So you put the cover layer on the side walls to begin with, the cover layer then on the gutter, and then glue the whole thing together. So you've got a sandwich there of 2 bits of 1mm and 1 bit of 2mm, okay. Make absolutely certain they're flat at the bottom, okay. If you've cut one a little bit longer, whatever, trim it down just to make sure it's absolutely flat, okay. And the same at the top, because that's where the chimney's going to sit, and you want the chimney to sit flat. You don't want it to be cocked over to one side, okay. So that's the chimney top, as it were, before you put the pots on. That's those. Right, what you've got to do when choosing the type of brick to put on here is to consider the house that you're going to butt up to it, okay. Now I've decided the next one I'm going to build is an Elizabethan house, which isn't quite so tall as this one here. So we'll need a brick up here which matches the front of it that we're going to put on, alright. So they are both identical brick, one left and one right hand, okay. So they'll go on the sides of the building like that, okay, because as I said, the Elizabethan house doesn't come up to the same height, doesn't have a chimney like that or anything. If you put in another type of building next to it, one the same height, then give consideration to the wall which divides the two up, whether you want the downpipe to be part of this building or whether you want the downpipe to be part of the next building that you put on. Alright, so if it's part of the next building you put on, perhaps the finish type of brick or stone that you're going to use might be part of the next building rather than part of this building. Sounds a bit sort of complicated, but once you get into it and have a look, it's fairly normal, fairly natural. Okay, so also what I've done is the 2 buttresses, okay, which are these small bits of card, which eventually will go on the side of the front here and cover up that bit there, okay. and one on the opposite side as well. What you don't do is glue this onto the front yet, okay? As I said before, the next step is to put the shop on, to get, because this has to sit up really on top of the shop to prevent any light or anything from coming out, and also it's got to fit between the two side walls like that, okay? It's got to fit between the two side walls. You can tell more or less where it's going to go, but don't glue it, okay? Right, the next step, as I said, was after you've put the sills on, you want to put the windows on. Now, I bought, well, there's the windows, we showed you those before, didn't we? Okay, so we cut them out and left them on the piece of paper that they're on. Cut the window holes out, didn't we? I bought some film, plastic film, okay? This is printer film, and when you look at it, when you feel it, one side is smooth and the other side slightly rough, okay? There's a reason for that, because depending upon whether you're using an inkjet or a laser printer, depends on which side you use, okay? The laser printer will be printing on the shiny side, but the inkjet will print on the slightly rough side, okay? Right, I've done it, I've put it in the printer once, upside down, and it printed on my inkjet printer, that is, and it printed on the shiny side instead of the rough side, and the minute you touch it, it just comes off, so there's a reason for it. So follow the instructions and make sure that the side that you're printing on is correct for, obviously, your laser or your inkjet. So what I do is I stick this piece of window onto the rough side, okay? You can't really physically see the difference when you look at it, but you can certainly feel it. Now if you stick it on the shiny side, you're going to have a few problems in getting it to stick, depending upon the glue you use. But I found that if you use the ordinary glue that you've used with the carton, with the cardboard and paper, it works extremely well on the rough side. It's actually got something to grip onto, so you need to ensure you glue that on the rough side. Then, after you've glued it on and the glue is dry, cut out the windows. As I say, the top two here are one window, another and another. So you'll end up with 3 sets of 2 windows to glue to the back of the facade. Right, so I think the next, I'll glue that on now, okay, and then come back to you after I've glued the windows on. We'll shove some curtains on. The download contains materials for curtains, but if you get a bit tired of the same colour curtains, because they don't give you an enormous choice of curtains, just get some odd paper and colour it with a felt tip, or paint. Let that dry, and then you've got an infinite number of colours for your curtains, should you so wish. After that, it's looking at the shops. We'll see what combination of shops we can use, shop fronts that is, okay, what goes inside, and once we've done that, we can start assembling the thing. Right, I'll get back to you in a minute or two. Right. I don't know why, but every time I finish doing a little video like that about what I'm doing. I think afterwards, oh, I could have done that a bit better, couldn't I? Could have explained this a little bit more. Okay, so just quickly, as far as the windows go, you have choices of windows. Okay, these are white windows. Okay, which you can cut out from the download sheet of paper. Now, also on a lot of builds where there are windows from Scalescenes, you get a choice. You get a choice of either cutting them out of paper, which I've decided to do for this particular build, or also you get the choice of actually printing them off on a kind of an acetate sheet, okay, like that. In which case, obviously they can't be white. They are black. And just to show you that, okay, there is the choice of windows that you can have as an alternative. So I've already used some. So we've got alternative windows for number 1, alternative windows for building number 2, some for building number 4, and I think the ones I've used are for buildings number 3, which is the Elizabethan. So I've chosen black windows for the Elizabethan ones, and basically most of the others, apart from the post office build which I showed you earlier, are white. Okay, so you've got the choice. You've got the choice. And this acetate sheet, as I said previously, goes through your printer, and sometimes the acetate sheet is actually completely full of windows. Okay, completely full. There's no spare space. But on other builds, not on this one, but on other builds, sometimes you can get a window printed at the top of the sheet and the remainder of the sheet remains blank. That is what I've used for this. Okay, now I don't know whether you can see, but obviously I've cut bits out here, haven't I, already. So this bit here underneath was left blank when it came out of the printer. So that's what I'm using for these. You can buy the acetate sheets, printing sheets at a stationers or something like that. They're quite difficult to get hold of here. You buy them in a wad, I don't know, 20 of them or something like that. It's not a huge, massive, but they're not cheap. But they're well worthwhile to enable you to be able to get the alternatives that you want. Print off the alternatives. I hope that explains what I was trying to explain earlier. Clear as mud. Right, we'll get on with the build, eh? Right. As you can see, I've glued the sills here on, folded them back through the window holes and glued them flat on the backs. Okay. Right. To help me do that, I just had a spare piece of cardboard. Okay. Just like that. Just a spare bit I had hanging about. And then when I did it, I actually pushed the sills down, make sure that they were glued onto the thing, make sure they're nice and square, because it's difficult to actually get your finger through there. So just cut out a piece of cardboard to help me glue it down. Right, the next thing to do is to glue the windows, which I've put onto the clear film. Okay, it's got a top to it, so make sure you top up. Now the way I do this is I put the window down flat on the surface, on the working surface, yeah, on my board there, and lay the house front over the top of it, just to make absolutely certain it fits. And then I apply the glue to the back of the surface, like that, all the way around the window openings. Give it a good sort of rubbing in. You don't want it squidging out there, ruining the actual window itself. Make sure that's all glued, make sure your fingers are clean. And then I place that, if you can see it properly hopefully, on top of the windows that I've got already on the worktop. Push it down to make absolutely certain it's glued. Turn it over, have a quick shonk. Yep, okay. So that's your windows in the top there, okay? We've got two different size windows. The top ones are smaller than these. These are the same size as those, okay? Make sure you get the right one. A bit of a pig's ear if you get the wrong ones in the wrong holes. Okay, right. Now the next is, I'll do it later, but I'll just show you, is the curtains, okay? Now supplied in the kit are curtains, okay, which are these, those, yeah, interesting colours, aren't they? So what I've got here also on the download is for the shops. I've got these little coloured squares, okay, which are meant to be carpet rolls. So you're meant to roll them up and put them in a carpet shop for sale, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use these because they're nice colours, and it'll make a nice change to have some coloured curtains rather than those drab grey things. So I'll cut those up and I'll stick them on the back of the windows to make it look as if somebody's got some curtains. Either that or there are some nets around somewhere, I think. Net curtains, although they're not, they look like nets, but you can't see through them. So I think probably one of those that I just showed you, one of those grey things, that's meant to be a net curtain. So anyway, that will be done next. And then we'll put that complete with its windows and curtains to one side. We won't do anything with that until we come to glue everything else together. Alright, we won't put on these sides, we won't put on the bottom, whatever that's called. It's called something, top ledge, bottom ledge I think it's called as well. We won't put those on until later, okay? Don't do that now. Right, so I love you and leave you, and probably the next video I think we'll glue the sides onto the back, and well, I'll take it from there next time. Yeah. All right. I'll look after yourselves in these weird times. We'll go back. Bye, 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 bye. I'll find the switch again. Cheers, mate.